Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of Monday Night Insights. I'm your host. My name is Pia Maffei, and to my right, I'm joined here with Dina Yelly, good friend of mine, also great customer to the store, and she's following our program, which is soon to be released. It's called Get Food Smart and Join My Tribe. So every fourth Thursday of every month in the store, we have a course. I teach it. It's at 6 o'clock, and that's the name of it. It's called Get Food Smart, Join My Tribe. Last month, the month of July, we had a topic which was fasting, fat fasting, intermittent fasting, fat adapted, keto adapted, all these terms that we're hearing being bantered about. So this is just one of the modules that will be available on our course. Once again, Get Food Smart and Join My Tribe. If you want to get a sneak peek of that course or stay up to date on when we're going to release that course, please leave your email down below and we will add you to our list so you'll be one of the first to know when we release the course. So, Dina, you've been now to all of them that we've had so far, which has been great, right? Yes. Well, having you has been great. Hopefully the course has been great too.
It's been great, yes.
Okay, good. Now, these terms like fasting, intermittent fasting, you had said earlier, you're like, oh my God, now intermittent fasting is on my radar. I'm hearing it all over the place, right?
Yes.
But prior to the course, it wasn't something that was on your radar.
No.
Okay.
No.
So let's kind of break it down and understand what it means. First of all, fasting. What does it mean? When we had the course on Thursday, what did you take away from the term fasting?
Just fasting in
Just
itself
just fasting on its own. Yep.
is basically taking something away out of your diet.
Okay, yeah. So generally, I think everybody's heard of the term fasting because it's like, well, you can do it for religious reasons. For hundreds and hundreds of years, people have been fasting for a variety of reasons. So technically, you could fast and take something out, and you can fast and take everything out. So a lot of people will fast and just do something called a water fast. The issue with this type of fasting is if you are coming from the standard American diet and want to do a several day fast where you're just drinking water, you might struggle quite a bit with this level of fast.
Isn't it dangerous too?
I personally think it's dangerous. I don't think it's one of those things that you just jump into and do a fast, especially if you're, my point is, if you're on the standard American diet, this could be really hard on your whole system, because basically on the standard American diet, you are generally a sugar burner. So you're used to feeding your body every few hours. So to go just cold turkey and then not have any nutrients for a period of time probably isn't the best strategy. So you have to kind of ask yourself, why are you fasting? What is the purpose of the fast? So if you're doing a fast for religious reasons, whatever your faith might be, then that's different, because generally a real popular one in the Christian faith is the Daniel fast. That's mostly removing have you heard of the Daniel fast? No? That's a real popular one. And so that you're still consuming foods, but it's types of foods that you're consuming, so that's a good one to...
Why is it a good?
Because you're still consuming food.
Okay, but
So
you're eliminating...
You're eliminating usually processed food, you're eliminating meats, and generally
sugar.
For somebody that's coming from the standard American diet, that's kind of a good intro. Mm-hmm. But the purpose of doing that level of fast is a spiritual purpose, okay? So when you're hearing fasting and people doing fasting today, they are tying it in with some form of weight loss in conjunction with keto, which is very, very popular today. So that is not a fad. I do not believe keto is a fad, but the way it's being treated and the way some people are following keto, I think is like a fad. So this is information I go through in depth in my course, Get Food Smart, Join My Tribe. And I deliver these courses once a month here in the store at 6 o'clock the fourth Thursday of every month. So if that's something you're interested in being a part of, and with like-minded people, I strongly recommend that you come to that class or to those classes. So now that's just fasting. The definition is simple. Just, basically removing items, whether it's liquids and beverages that you drink or foods that you drink for a period of time. That's the most basic description of a fast. Now, and then the reason you do a fast is either A, weight loss, or B, spiritual. Those are the types of the things that I'm finding people doing fast for that type of
Would
thing.
it also be for people that have like an allergy or allergic reaction to food or having stomach issues and they not quite
think
sure
that's
what it
a
could
good
be?
point, but I think that we would rather call that an elimination.
Okay.
So finding out, and that would be in one of the courses that we did, which is elimination versus deprivation.
Okay.
So I think that would be that category for that.
Okay.
Now, moving on, there is another type of fast that is very popular right now, which is intermittent fasting. Now, out of the class that we did last month, what were some of the things that you got out of what is intermittent fasting? Why would you want to do intermittent fasting? What did you get out of that?
Well, at first I never heard of it, so I was surprised. I thought I was fat adapted, but I'm not.
Okay, but we're going to get into the definition of fat
yeah.
adapted. Yeah.
So with that, I was surprised because if I remember correctly, you were saying that you eat within a 4-hour range.
No, in a window.
In a window.
Okay, so you eat in a window. So intermittent fasting basically means you consume foods in a window of time. So that window could be 12 to 8.
Mm-hmm.
It could be 11 to 5. The window is basically different for everybody. It's based on your lifestyle. And it's generally good for women to do a 14-hour fast where you're not eating for 14 hours, and men 16-hour fast where you're not eating for 16 hours.
Now, why is there a difference between men and women?
I think just metabolically we're different, and how our hormones are different hormonally, and all of this impacts all of that.
Okay.
Right? So there's so much information on the internet on intermittent fasting. It's unbelievable. But along comes misinformation on the internet. So I read on the internet that one guy or one person was recommending in your window, so let's say your window is 12 to 8, in your window eat whatever you want, basically promoting binging in that window, okay? So that's not the idea of an intermittent fast. The idea of an intermittent fast is you are consuming food and beverage within a period of time, but being sensible about it.
Yes.
And that goes back to part of the course we have built and defined. We have this pyramid, and the pyramid is called What Are You Buying? So, and I'm going to post it at the end of this. So at the base of the pyramid is industrial food. So if you are still eating industrial food and that's your window, maybe you're not ready for a fast. Maybe you're not ready to do an intermittent fast because you're still at the stage of understanding, like what you said, what foods you should be eliminating first before you just jump into a fast. And maybe you should be understanding, maybe you need to become fat adapted if you're still on the standard American diet. Maybe that's a strategy, which I'll get into in a second. So
More of a lifestyle.
it's absolutely a lifestyle. So now, people want to fast, and I do intermittent fasting 3 times a week. There's no hard and fast rules of, well, how many days a week should I do an intermittent fast? It's based on how many days do you want to do an intermittent fast? How does it work in your lifestyle? And seeing that window, in fact, I was talking to somebody today, And she said, oh, for sure. She said, I was binging between 5 to 8 p.m. Because my window was 12 to 8, and between 5 to 8 p.m. I was binging on all sorts of food. So she wasn't really ready to do an intermittent fast, okay? So until you start to kind of build your body up, I've been on my journey for 5 years, okay? That's how long I've been on my journey. So I didn't just suddenly start to do intermittent fasting. I've been understanding the foods that are working for me and my body. I've gone through eliminations. I've gone through basically the stuff I tell you about, and I've gone through those processes, and I want to take you through those processes too. And again, you should fill in your name and your email below so you could be one of the first to know when I announce my whole course, which is Get Food Smart, Join My Tribe. So
you also have the right mindset too.
100%, absolutely. So you have to go through all this stuff, which is basically all the things we've been doing in the course, right? To then get to this point here. So if somebody is still at the standard American diet and want to jump just immediately, you can do it. It's possible, but it just, you might be doing yourself some harm. And then it's like, well, what did you learn?
Or you'll fail.
Or you'll fail, right? Or you'll fail, and then and because if you don't know what you're buying and you don't know the level in which you're buying, which will be in that pyramid, then it's like, well, what do you go back to? Right? So that's what I call the merry-go-round effect. You get on and off, and there are certain things that you really shouldn't be getting on, or certain things that you actually, maybe you should get off certain things, right? Sugar, you should get off. So those are some things to consider. So an intermittent fast means that you are eliminating certain foods. You should be eliminating certain foods. In some cases, people just say, "Oh no, don't eliminate anything." Technically, an intermittent fast could mean, to some people, okay, get ready for this. This is a big one. It could mean that you're only eating fast food in that period of time, but as long as you fast, in the rest of the hours, boom, you're intermittent fasting. Okay, to me that's cuckoo. I am not a fan of that at all. Technically, another way to look at it is, this is legit. People think this way. Oh, my fast consists of day 1, I'm going to eat a Big Mac. Day 2, I eat nothing. And then they repeat that. Okay? Now, that is not the level of intermittent fasting that we are recommending, or any type of fast that we're recommending. We strongly recommend that you want to understand what you're buying, to understand that that's what you consume in your window. And if you've ever heard our class on mindset versus lifestyle, you can't get to that point until you're really in the right mindset. So the intermittent fasting basically means you have a window in which you consume, hopefully good, clean foods, and then there's a longer window which you don't consume at all. That's the most basic example of intermittent fasting that I can give you. Now, there's also a term that's being bantered about. I think I make it really popular in the store, which is fat fasting. Okay? This is something I'm a huge fan of. In fact, in the store, we make an amazing drink called a Frothy Brothy. It's our bone broth from Broth RX, and we add a tablespoon of ghee in it. We whirl it in the Vitamix, and it's so delicious and awesome for you. So there's a whole way in which you can just be drinking this drink, okay, which would be a fat drink. I call it a fat drink. In one case, it's a broth, so you're getting all your nutrients from there, and then you've got the fat incorporated in it. You can have other fat drinks. The equation for a fat drink would be liquid, generally coffee, tea, broth, right? Can you think of another liquid? I mean, those are the three big ones. And then a fat, which would be ghee, MCT oil. This is one of my favorite things to add, the MCT oil. And if you want more education on it, please leave your information. I'll give it to you, or even come to the store. And coconut butter is another great one. So a fat fast is basically you are consuming within your window, and you might just do fat drinks in the window. And this is a great strategy to have if you're already fat adapted, which I'm going to talk about next. So it's hard to just jump from, once again, the standard American diet to any fast, including a fat fast. How it works in the intermittent fasting, if you're doing a window 12 to 8, I believe that if you consumed a fat drink prior to 12, in my opinion, if you're focused on doing a fat fast, this does not break your fast. So if you want to do a fat fast with consuming food, in my opinion, totally fine. You're doing it within that window, and you could drink a fat drink, and then you have your sensible meal. So I do this about 3 to 4 times a week, but every day I have my fat drink, and my first fat drink in the morning is comprised of 5 tablespoons of fat. And most days I consume, 10 tablespoons of fat, okay? What kind of fat? MCT oil. I do a raw egg every morning, but only the eggs I sell in the store because they're true pasture eggs. I know everything about those hens in that egg, and if I don't have eggs, then guess what? I'm not going to have a raw egg that day. I'll do coconut oil in addition to the MCT oil. Ghee is one of my favorite fats to use. So this is a way, so that fat drink keeps me focused, energy, sustained, all the way through for when I have my meal at around 6:30, which is a sensible meal, which usually includes pasture protein, organic vegetables, usually local organic vegetables, and more fat in the form of avocado oil, mayo, these types of things that I have in the store that I know is easy to just add on top of my food, and that's where I get my extra fat. Now, I didn't always consume this way, okay? So it took me months to become fat adapted. So I slowly started to have like a broth with fat in it, and slowly started to build up my system, where my system was getting more and more used to being sustained with fat rather than being sustained with carbs, even though they were good carbs like the dried fruits and the fruit bars and things like that that I was consuming. Even though they were good, clean products, I was still contributing to being a sugar burner, okay? And I started to make that transition. So it was important for me to make that transition, because as I'm in the store every single day and I'm here for 8+ hours, I can't be like, oh my God, I'm starving, I can't think, and I can't be hangry, okay? And that's the problem with sugar burning. You are hangry, you're not focused. You keep thinking about where your next meal is coming from, and the food has a stranglehold on you, and I don't want that. So I want to eat, I want to enjoy my food, but I want to have control over it. I don't want it to control me. So that was the reason I worked toward becoming fat adapted. So for me now to do a fat fast, that's easy. You know, I'm not pressuring my body. I'm not introducing something totally weird. I could totally go and consume in a 4-hour window my fat drink, not consume anything again. In fact, my ultimate goal, which is to do a water fast, but I'm building my body up to that. So I first took time to become fat adapted, which was introduce new fats, more fats to my everyday consumption. Then I introduced intermittent fasting, which was consuming sensible, good foods within a window, a time window, and then slowly I started to bring that window shorter and shorter and shorter. So instead of 8 hours, then I was doing 5 hours, then 4 hours, which is where I'm at now. So hopefully by the time October comes, when I'm ready to do a 5-day water fast, why do I want to do that? It's not to lose weight. Basically, it's just a personal goal of mine. I just want to see if I can do it. If it's just, it's like a challenge. I want to challenge myself. I want to challenge my brain. I want to challenge all of that to see if I could come out on the other end of it. And actually, that's not that long, 5 days, because people do a lot longer. But it's going to be long for me because that's the first time that I've done it. So, but I'm it's like training. I'm training for it. I'm just not going to go and say, oh yeah, I'm just going to do this, water fast for 5 days. Yes, later I'm going to be fine. Because I know our bodies don't work this way. I don't want to shock my system.
It's like trying to run a marathon if you've never trained for it.
Yeah, right.
That's
Exactly.
crazy.
Exactly. Exactly right. So I'm training for that right now, so wish me luck. So that's the importance of becoming fat adapted, which is completely different from being keto. Okay, so everybody right now seems to are either doing keto, want to do keto, or talking about keto. And I wrote, if you go to www.iamacleaneater.com, go to that website, and on there, one of the blogs is, and it's not to sound rude or anything, it just says Keto and Clueless. And it's basically explaining to you what is happening when you just think you're going to follow somebody because your neighbor told you about it or a friend told you about it, and suddenly you're doing keto and you don't even know where you're starting, and you're from the standard, and you just came off the standard American diet. Okay, so that's usually a dirty keto. So there are people that are just like, oh, I'll just go through In-N-Out and get a double cheeseburger on protein style, and it's like, that's not clean keto. I'll still just have my diet soda. That's not clean keto. So if you're doing a keto like this, or one of your first questions into keto is, how do I make a cheesecake? No, you are not in the right mindset to go on this journey. Try to become clean eating first and look through that. The iamacleaneater.com website is a great resource for you. Now, wrapping it up here, you were talking about, and I was talking about, how do you know that you're fat adapted in the course? And I had asked, who thinks they're fat adapted, and your hand went up.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the class, you go, oh no, I'm not fat adapted. So what happened from why you thought you were fat adapted and now you're not fat adapted?
Because you said that you shouldn't wake up hungry, because I do. I thought I was, because I wasn't consuming that much food. I wasn't eating dinner. I would just eat like breakfast and lunch, and that was, I was sustainable. I wasn't needing to eat in the evening.
So you weren't hangry?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
I wasn't hangry.
Well, that's good. That's part of it.
But I woke up starving. I mean, I couldn't get downstairs to the kitchen fast enough. That's not good.
But were you binging when you were eating, or what were you consuming?
No.
Okay.
It was my fat drink. I do the coffee fat drink.
Okay.
With the superfood. So, and that was just yummy. But I've noticed that when I am that hungry, that I won't just. I guess I would binge, because I would, instead of just one drink, I'd want another one.
Oh, okay.
So it was just, I wanted. I
That's
was
the part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
okay.
it
So
was
you were
not-
doing it in the form of double
yes,
doses, let's say, instead of the one should have just kept you sustained and happy.
and be happy.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted more.
Okay, so that is an important concept to understand is, and I don't want this to be a whole keto discussion. There's so much information out there, and you could come back and go to iamacleaneater.com and get information on keto that way. But one of the major differences between being keto adapted and fat adapted, because they're different, they're not the same. Basically, you can go into ketosis after 2 days, and that does not mean you're fat adapted. So ketones, you can start to produce, your liver can start to produce ketones after 2 days of following basically a low carb diet, no sugar, etc. But that doesn't mean that your body is fat adapted. So the biggest difference between the two is there's no measurement for becoming fat adapted aside from yourself, how you feel, your relationship with food. Because there's no like, oh, I'm gonna pee on this stick and look at, I'm fat adapted, like you can with, in being in ketosis. You pee on a stick and everybody's, comparing their colors and their numbers, and it's just so crazy. So it's like, I will not pee on a stick, period. I'm not going there. That's not where I'm at in my journey, but I am fat adapted. But I know that at a minimum, it'll take 3 weeks to become fat adapted, which doesn't necessarily mean either that you're in ketosis. I have no desire really to be in ketosis or measure all of that. I have a desire to have a sustainable, lasting lifestyle. And that's what's most important to me. And if that's important to you, I recommend that you leave your name and your email and be part of the small group of people that are going to be invited to start to take the online course, which is Get Food Smart, Join My Tribe. This is it for today. If you want to hang out with me, come to Artisan's Palette. We're over in the Kmart Hobby Lobby Center, and I'm here most days. And the store hours are Monday through Friday from 10 to 6 and Saturday from 12 to 5. Online, you can find me at www.iamacleaneater.com. Until next time, thank you. We'll see you. Bye.